Guess what? It's hump day. And we are Island Tea. Good morning, Candy. How are you doing?
Good morning. Should I call you Mike? Mike.
That's a pretty funny commercial. Yeah, you know it's funny, right? There's so many like just perfect.
Yes, perfect.
Commercials.
On the head, right?
On
the nose.
You be watching those Upwork commercials?
Upward. No.
It's Upwork. It seems though they're like a human resource company.
Oh boy.
Where meaning like you.
No, I'm trying to figure out what nonsense they're doing. Okay.
No, but the commercials are really funny. It's the premise is that the old way of hiring people is dead. So they have this CEO who is actually dead, but undead. So like he's doing the commercials and like his limbs are falling off, his nose is falling off.
No, I'm gonna go Google this now.
Fluids are shooting out of his neck. It's really funny. And there's one where there's a whole song. It's like a minute and a half.
No way.
Where he's singing like, the old way of working is deader than me. I'm not making this up.
No.
It's really
I'm about to go Google
every time I see them, I just crack up. There's some commercials that are just...
Sometimes, you just watch TV just for commercials.
I know.
That's the only reason I kind of really watch the Super Bowl. Unless it's a team I like or there's a cute guy in the play.
Yeah, okay, I get that. I mean, that's why I like beach volleyball.
Oh, God. Not for the commercials, though.
No, not for the commercials.
I'm going to go message your
wife. The ladies in bikinis.
No, let me message your wife.
Beach volleyball is cool and all, but it's probably like a close second to...
You have to find a better way to sell it, otherwise you're going to get banned.
Two hot babes in bikinis.
I hope you're listening, wifey.
She's probably rolling her eyes. But no, but I always wondered why don't we see, the ad agency fraternity, they actually have an awards show. I always wonder why they don't bring it on TV.
That's true.
Because I would watch that.
Because maybe it's like viewing audience, because I don't think they show the SAG Awards
I'll
either.
put it on YouTube or something.
Yeah.
Because I think I go, some of these commercials is like, you can't tell me that commercial's not gonna win an award. I mean, like, it's so well put together and stuff,
Wow. Like now you're making me go Google this because I'm like so curious. So I'm gonna make to go look at this ad.
Yeah, pretty.
No, but Geico probably has like the best ads.
Yeah, Geico. I actually remember the first set of Geico ads when I was actually in college at the time, and what's his name used to voice the gecko, Kelsey Grammer. People don't know that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
either.
he voiced the gecko at first, but no, there's this Australian guy doing it. But those are pretty funny too.
And you know
the caveman ones?
Oh God, yes, so easy a caveman could do it. Yeah. Like when I started looking at them, I was kind of grossed out because it's a gecko, but then the ads are so ridiculous. You can't help but look at them.
I mean, you see the gecko, for example. I remember one of the first ones with Kelsey Grammer where someone's knocking at the door and like he has this towel around his waist, like he just came out of the shower.
Yes.
You remember that one?
I think one of my favorites has got to be when he made up this word, because there's like between Texas and another state, there's just like one line.
Yeah.
And he's like standing in the middle of
it and
I
remember
saying,
that.
I'm in Tex, whatever. I can't remember the name
I don't
of the
remember
other
what word he used, but I remember
state.
that.
Right, like he made up that. Yeah. And then I think there's one when he rents an apartment, but it's actually in a Chinese takeout box.
There was one I like when he's having dinner with his boss, right? And he said, "Oh, I'll take the check," and then I remember he's like semi-magical, so it's like, and then the wallet just appears on, and the boss goes, "Where do you where do you keep?" It's really funny.
Nah, they definitely
my God.
Because I think even Sugar Bowl does that hump day thing. Like he absolutely loves that ad. So and at first I thought I was just like weird, but then I realized like a couple other persons like the ad as well.
No.
So like I always do it with my dad.
Yeah, it's hump day. Yes. Yeah.
Hallelujah. I feel like this week has been going on forever. And it's only Wednesday. Ugh. I don't know if it's the heat or what, but I can't deal with it. It's just way too much.
I just saw someone sent me a video. Very sad. A tourist, someone staying a guest at the Marriott, had a fall at the Marriott.
Where?
Fell on the stairs. and suffered severe head injuries.
Is it the
and-
stairs like going down into the courtyard?
Well, it just says stairs. I'm not sure. It's a curved, so it's possible.
Probably.
It's possible. So.
I am totally scared of those
Oh
stairs,
my
by the
God.
way.
So I mean, and he died on the way to the hospital. Yeah.
That's this morning?
Oh well, it doesn't. It's just a video they sent me.
Oh no.
I could send it to you. Yeah, it's pretty sad.
I
Imagine you're
have-
on vacation and you
die.
You wind up that.
I have a real fear of going downstairs. Like I always feel like I'm gonna fall and knock my teeth out. I don't know why. Don't ask me. So every time I'm going downstairs, like I just gravitate to the side so that I can hold, and I take extra care because I just have this weird fear that I'm gonna fall, and that's the only thing that's gonna happen. I'm gonna knock my front teeth out. So, but that's terrible. Condolences to the family, but I wonder if it's going to morph into anything else.
Oh man, I hope not. That's interesting because I'm pretty sure it could be one of those people. The minority of
Litigious.
people.
Oh.
No. What I meant was, like, I always like when I'm in the States and Canada, right? I always go. For example, I usually take the stairs if it's like nothing over 3 floors. I take the stairs because I said, hey, it's so hard to get exercise here.
I don't know about taking the stairs.
No,
I'm not a stairs
and I don't
person.
take the escalator. I take the stairs.
Wow.
So, and I'm like, and I always look around and kind of not disgust, but
Judge.
Close-
Yes.
close-
Judge.
close
Judge
to
the rest of
discuss.
us that are taking the escalator or elevator.
I was like, is it really that difficult to just take those stairs?
Leave us alone. I know. Leave us alone.
No.
I am not a stairs
The
person.
person's in
He'd be
the
like,
in the elevator
yeah,
and,
and,
say,
and rolls his eyes.
and thinking, I'm only playing tough. I really want to use this device.
Who?
You.
No.
Based on my crazy fear, I am definitely not a stairs person. So yeah, no promises there.
I know I saw a video one time with in China where an escalator ate someone.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Because
I'm still gonna take
oh
them
my
though,
God,
just putting that out
it's
there.
like one of the steps fell out.
If it is that you're trying to dissuade me, it's not.
No.
working.
Actually, no. I was just
I'm
thinking. I
not
was
taking
like,
the stairs.
no. That was like recently. Yeah, even before I had.
Like, do you know how annoyed I am when I come into the airport here and I have to climb down the stairs and the escalator is right there? Like, I think I've only ridden that escalator twice
Well,
in all its existence.
The escalator was
Always
down for
broken.
some time.
Yeah, it's always broken.
It's
Yeah.
pretty expensive though. It's pretty expensive. Yeah.
But
Don't
you
even
know-
try to help it. Just
but
fix
actually,
it.
But actually, this is a good segue into one of the things that came up yesterday. I was listening to Issues yesterday, and the building contractors
Oh my
were on,
gosh,
right?
yes, I listened to it as
And
well.
one of the guys was talking about the fact that he talked about, we were really gonna have to start building up, but he said
Yeah.
one of the problems is one of the things that's stopping that is that the fire departments. I guess we're gonna have to talk to Timothy about that on
Poor
Friday.
Timothy on Friday.
The fact that the fire department doesn't have the appliances, the ladder trucks
To in case.
it doesn't have the ladder trucks in the case of a fire with these high rises and mid rise type deals.
Yeah, it's something
Weird.
definitely that would
Yeah.
have to be in discussion because we have limited land and we have persons, and we have to think about generations
I
to
think
come.
everybody was asking, like, where are they putting? I know they said lodge, right? Didn't they say lodge was where the first set was gonna go? The
Oh, I
allotted-
actually didn't hear that.
I never
Where
heard
did
when
I
the
hear
first set
that?
was going to go, so I don't want to say
I
something.
thought I heard that on the radio. Maybe it wasn't Issues or I don't remember. But for some reason I thought it was lodge. I was driving somewhere and I was listening to the radio and I thought I heard them say lodge. And in my head I'm thinking, where in lodge? But then again, I could be.
with that magnitude of housing. I mean, I really hope they do. It's really like a mixed bag in terms of form factor and footprint.
Yeah,
Well,
and
it's-
2,400 is a
Right,
lot
it's
of
a good
houses
amount.
to go one time. I think what the best thing might have been is to perhaps do a few, see how you work with the contractor, see how the plan is working, and then afterwards if you want to do more. But to go
No, but that's what they're doing. They're doing it in phases. They're doing 2 model houses first, so that our local contractors can see how it's done based on the East Coast company standards or whatever,
but they've contracted
or the
them.
CTE, whatever.
They're doing it in stages, yes, but they've contracted them for 2,400 houses. So what I'm saying...
But then we don't know what the contract says, because I would think common sense would dictate, let me see how you do on the first batch, and then we initiate...
Well, based on what we know is that they have been contracted for 2,400. So what I'm saying is that I would think that they would at least do a smaller number. And
so you would say maybe let's contract them for the first 600.
Yes.
And then have an option to renew.
Yes.
Or change contractors going forward.
When you lock in, again, we haven't seen the terms
I was
yet.
just about to say that.
And
We
of
haven't
course,
seen the contract.
There are ways in which contracts can be broken. You know, there's breach of contract where it is that.
Frustration and all of that.
Man,
Yeah.
our politicians just give up the A on the
So-
first go.
But wait, now we don't know what the contract says. That's what Azard is saying.
So we don't know what the contract is saying, yes, but we know that they have been contracted for 2,400.
Right.
You know what I mean by give up the A, right?
But
No.
what I thought might have been best, especially since it's a new company, and this is a first-time government, because even though this administration has never been at the helm of government before, so they're fairly new. So, and it's a large project, 2,400 houses.
Someone on the chat is saying they are the financiers.
Okay, so they are the financiers, yes. But at the end of the day, you still want to make sure that the product that you're receiving is of a high quality. So you don't want to put a large amount one time. I think it might have been best a smaller amount. See how it is, and then afterwards move on.
I personally would love to see what the contract says, because for me, I like to give the benefit of the doubt, right? So I'm thinking, all right, they're not that crazy to say we're signing off for the next 4 years and we don't even know what we're getting. Maybe they've seen what they've built before. Maybe they've done a walkthrough before contracting them. And I feel a little bit comfortable thinking, that's just me for compensation's sake, that they're doing 2 model houses first. And so that will be the test, and then they're doing the 600 after.
And that's one of the great areas as well.
598
2 model houses. They're not saying the time period in which they're going to see whether or not these model houses are actually withstanding what it needs to withstand, whatever checks and balances.
I noticed.
Whose ministry does this fall under, Jeffrey?
Yes,
the
Deputy Prime Minister.
I noticed. So it seems all this talk that's started about doing high rise to maximize the land and so on. It's interesting that we don't even have there's no talk of, maybe there are, but there's no talk of models for apartments or condos or anything. So
stop there.
It almost,
you're thinking about that. I'm thinking about, are they going to be hurricane proof?
Well, yeah. Well, and that's one of the things. I think that's
an earthquake.
To his point, yes. To Azard's point.
Yeah, because again, I go back to what the Ambassador Nato was saying and his Freedom FM interview, and he said that the houses at Lodge were built 15 one time, and then afterwards,
maybe that's where I heard Lodge. Maybe
15 one time, and then afterwards there were problems. But clearly the problems only started to manifest, or you only started to realize those problems after a time. So how long are we supposed to wait for these 2 after they are built for the manifestation?
Good point, caller.
to realize the checks that we needed to do.
I know.
And then afterwards,
who
realizing
did those houses at Lodge? Do you remember?
I think it was a Venezuelan.
No, didn't they get the funds from Venezuela? But was it the Venezuelan company that built it?
Usually when we get aid like that, it usually involves. It usually means that you probably have to use
their thing.
Yeah, I can't remember, but I know it seemed like there was some assistance.
Because like the apartments up there.
And again, I'm not saying that it's
Which apartments?
No, saying the apartments on Wellington Road.
I don't want people to get the wrong idea.
Contracted it, those building contractors.
I don't want people to get the wrong idea. Housing is important. It is good that the government is looking at sources outside or even inside whereby we can get affordable houses. But I think what needs to be always at mind is practicability.
Oh, Azuri's having a field day on the chat.
how practical it is, you understand?
She said, Azard, SKNLP is not new to government. This is not the first time an overseas company has built low-income homes in St. Kitts. SKN.
Okay, they're not new to government, but the members that sit in the position as ministers, many of them, correct me if I'm wrong, have never served in the capacity that they're serving now. And
That's
if we look...
That's such a disingenuous
And if
response
we look at the magnitude of the development, I'm sure in recent time we haven't had a magnitude of this a housing development of this magnitude.
True, 2,400 is a lot.
Let us take it as it is, looking at the scenario as it is.
It was also interesting to hear the contractors yesterday actually raising.
Oh my gosh, they were pretty angry.
Raising the point about the fact that, well, and do I also raise it to about, well, what about farmland and are we going to be just building
Someone on the chat
residences
says
willy-nilly on, agricultural grade land type thing, as opposed to...
Well, I think that's everyone's concern about the use of land and, if it's right to use that for building when we're supposed to be pushing food security.
We have a call. Let's take a call. Caller Island T on here.
Greetings, Island T.
Hey,
Good
what's up?
morning.
Good morning.
Yes, housing not utterly important, but we have to echo the right phrases must be in the right places for any network. Things happening is not in a vacuum. No system in the vacuum. It's people, and the meditation have to be right so that things can go right. And they have a saying, say, we're gone by the morning, can't come with the evening. So we have to weigh what we're doing as a people and do things intelligently, and for the benefit of, at all times, for the benefit of the people who ought to be benefiting is low-income family. Low-income family. And if it ain't going that way, then it don't make no sense, We wish who in the places them are the best, but believe you me, it's very important for the right places to be in the right places. Because you see, when the right places in the right places, it's just successes. All this query and all this way. With the energies. When things go right, it's better. It's better in every which way. You see me? We want to share something else, but we're going to go and listen. Give thanks to the information. Blessed Lord.
Thank you, caller. Thank you. Yeah. We invite other persons to call in and give their opinion.
Someone on the chat is saying, in this day and age, with the lack of land, the government should not be building single-family home. They should be building up to maximize what space they have, and that will also help more people to get the opportunity to have a home. And I think it's kind of the same sentiment everyone is echoing. I know, for instance, Mrs. Henry has called in and said, go up. I think going up is probably a good idea as well. But my concern with the calls for going up is that with the rampant earthquakes that we've been having and hurricane season it's something that we experience every year, I'm just, hoping that these buildings are going to be as close as possible to being hurricane and earthquake proof. I mean, you can never really be earthquake proof, but So
let's take a call.
Oh, we have another caller.
Okay. Let's go to on to the next.
We have another caller.
Caller, go right ahead.
Yes, good morning. How are you guys doing?
Good. How are you doing?
How are you?
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, I'm very much interested in this this topic here with this housing revolution they're talking about.
Yes.
I must give kudos to the contractors down that came on, and they had a lot more information and insight than the ambassador's interview on freedom. And I was very pleased with them, man, coming forward and, put forth the information that they know. It seems like they was very versed and had a lot of knowledge about what they was talking about. But there are a few things. One, for me, I don't see why they didn't put these, we have to wait for 2 houses to be built. And these houses should have been online where people can go on and do their own research. And,
or at least the plans or the photos.
I'm just gonna watch this play out, man. I'm gonna watch this play out. But the information got to be forthcoming, man. And another thing is, two other things I want to mention. One, I ain't seen them put no legislations in place to preserve the land for agriculture. And number two is, like I had one other thought, but it's kind of slipping me right now. Oh, the contract. It seems like they already signed off on these contracts with this overseas company to come in. But the local contractors, why didn't the local contractors get the contracts signed off? Why don't the local contractors themselves get contracts? That way, it's just not a promise that the contractors locally is going to get the work, but they would already have contracts signed themselves locally. And those are the other 2 points I wanted to hammer home. But thanks a lot, man, and you guys have a good day.
Okay, great. Let's go to the next call. Caller, go right ahead. Okay, that person may have hung up.
Yeah.
You know,
another call.
Yes.
Here we go. Caller, you're on the air. Island T.
Yes, good morning to everybody there on the panel.
Good morning.
Wednesday. Yes, with the house in St. Reed just right. I thought about it there a couple of months ago too. It could be late last year or this year. Say, when I drove up to Phillips' side, no plane no fly up there. So instead of to give people like a single house, I said to myself, I should have put some apartment up there. Because everybody cannot get a single house, right? It ain't gonna work. So that's a good idea for if they could chop some in back up here I'm living. Way up. They get a lot of house. I see some people got some huge house on it, bigger than mine. All up there could have just get some huge apartment too. And a plane flying really up there, plane flying more here by me. Area. So I don't know, I hope they come in with a smart house to plan because it ain't gonna work. It is. Everybody could get a house and that will happen. The next thing again, with the contractors yesterday, I was listening, them I think I dropped it in between. But what happened? It's one couple of years ago, I used to hear them say they're going around the college, they're having a contractor meeting, right? I don't know what went sour between 11, 12. I don't know what went wrong with somebody dropped the ball also. So when I hear them coming out, when I hear in the crying out saying, oh, the contractor them not getting a workforce and overseas. Yeah, overseas people always come too. But if they do the thing good, right? When we did deliver the material, let the material steady on. Then when you come back in the morning, you hear 10 board on from 15 you had. So now they are messing up the contractor them what here. Thing nobody know. Now I make I like how we need to do it, you know. Now when you miss anything missing, you pay for it. While it's also doing it. But when I ask why they keep back, they say somebody went with 21 board in 2017. Well, you're the person now to bring it back, the 2111 now, you pay for it. Because it's not right for me to deliver 20 sheets of 2111 to you, and when you look only 15, I meet when I reach back on the side. Tell your workman them do not come back here tonight and trouble nobody things. Yeah, well, as young guy used to do it, now they say you have no other build a house like Hilton Hotels, right? And then here you want to see my see, so I believe they make him pay back. Yeah, and in here the gut and the forbid him, and he still a bill. Well, when he breaks in, he gonna know what time it is. Like overseas, you see. Up in Pakistan the other day with the house and just start to crumble and all them there.
Turkey,
it will happen
yeah.
Wait and the land, and after a while water keep running through there, one day it's going to crumble.
True.
So I just hope, I don't know what to say with this contractor here. We're hearing about the prisons. They say somebody here get a part, the ladies part to do with the prison, you know. But when you look at what's going on, the city, the training them doing it too. So when that's supposed to pull up, you can't just sit down and start to come out with your placard if you don't like something. Man, I like America with that behavior, not otherwise, not other things. I like with that kind of thing. Deal.
Okay, caller.
Come out and shove it up and go down Church Street and let them know. If I do it there, we can get them what? So you will get work.
You might be onto something. Thank you so much for your contribution.
Okay, we have to take a quick break. It's 8:30. and we're going to continue Island Tea right after this.
Found the sound 98.9
Music's finest artists converge in Bastille from June 22nd to June 24th for the 25th hosting of the St. Kitts Music Festival. Hitting the festival main stage will be Skillibeng, Chronix, Coffee, Byron Messiah, Anthony B, Governor, Romaine Virgo, TJ, Valiant.
Them boy don't got no bodies.
Grandmasters, Collision Band, Small X Band, New Vibes Band International, Mr. Bagdell, Akai You Sweet, Preedy, Guess the Band, Ricardo Drew, Patrice Roberts, Skinny Fabulous, Nyla Blackman, Status. Erica Edwards, 313 Family, Gramps Morgan, Nitra B, Ear Supply, Dexter Daps, and Burner Boy. It's the 25th edition of the St. Kitts Music Festival from June 22nd to June 24th at Warner Park. An experience like no other. Tickets are now available at stkittsmusicfestival.com.
It's tool season at Horsewood's Building and Nevis Center on St. Kitts and Nevis. Don't miss out on the year's best time to buy tools. Get 25% off selected tools store-wide. Hundreds of tools on sale. Slash by 25%. 25% off on tools for this tool season at Horsewood's Building Center on St. Kitts and Nevis. Horsewood's Building and Nevis Centers, the Federation's favorite home improvement stores. Some exclusions apply. See stores for details.
8:32 Island Tea. Coffeeless morning for me, but hey.
Yeah. So
Definitely coffee today.
are definitely hearing about the interview that was had yesterday on issues. Apologies,
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to listen because I was so engrossed with work.
You missed out.
But-
I was multitasking because that interview, I remember at one point one of the contractors even swore Jamie was like, hello.
But it seems like Jamster and Candy would have had.
You
it.
listened to the
Yes.
whole thing, Jamster?
So tell me
most of it, yeah.
what
Yeah, I
was the
listened to a good
general
amount of it.
perception?
Based on the complaints from the contractors, and I'm gonna have to say based on what they're saying, because there wasn't anything really presented, so it's hearsay. They were saying that as it relates to building, and someone that I know actually studied architecture just messaged me and kind of repeated the same thing that the contractors said. When it comes to building St. Kitts homes, they are the best built in the Caribbean, and the contractors said as much. So I think that was stemming off of them saying in the whole NHC launch that these Trinidadian persons or whoever, I don't know if they said the Trinidadian company, was gonna come down and do the building of 2 model houses and show the local contractors how to construct them.
But
and it was the whole show them how to construct them thing that kind of, I think, set everybody off, because we've been building homes in St. Kitts for years.
No, but that might be because there's a
But
prefab
no,
type
but no.
design or something.
What the contractors said is also that this is not new to them.
Fair enough.
So what kind of technology are you bringing to show us that they don't know before, right? So that was a point that they made. And then, of course, they made another point alluding to what happened when the prison project was being built. And I think the caller that, called just before we went to break, spoke about it, about how the jobs were assigned. So they're building this prison, and I think that was a big contention when it was during elections time. I remember Sean Richards going there and doing like a video and whatever. But what the local contractor says happens is that you have to tender to get different parts of the prison to build. However, when the tender started, they already told you, okay, you can bid on this part, you can bid on this part. These are already been assigned. So then what's the point in tendering it? So he said when he tendered and he got approved, it was to build the female section of the prison, which happened to be the smallest section. And all the other sections were already tendered out, and which would have been the bigger sections. So naturally, whoever is doing the bigger section is getting more of the money, because, it all boils down to that. And he said what ended up happening was that the bigger sections were being built by Chinese. I think Jamie asked him how many Chinese was there. He was like, I can't keep track. They all look alike to me. I was just like, oh, God. But I think for me, the biggest concern would be these houses are being built, one, to satisfy a housing need, two, to provide jobs for our citizens, right? So you would want to see it done in a manner where everybody benefits.
Yes.
At the end of the day, there's still going to be persons who are not happy because you can't please all the people all the time. But I would love to see a transparent process and a process where everybody benefits.
I mean, again, I repeat, development of this magnitude, you need more information. You need persons to feel comfortable, persons to feel aware of what is happening.
Let's cycle through some calls.
We have some callers.
Island T, you're on the air. Okay, Island. Okay, they've been coming through, so hopefully we'll get some more. So you can finish your point.
Someone says also, if it's a case where they are constructing prefab homes, we should not worry too much about that as long as the government is doing due diligence and ensuring that the specifications of those homes have gone to rigorous testings to show that they can withstand the hurricanes.
Okay, so what time period would that be given? After the two homes are built, sometime in the end of June, and then we have a grace period until when?
No, for me, I would like to think that they would have done due diligence before and seen the work of this company before. Because, I mean, it's not children doing this. These are persons that are experienced in their fields. They're qualified for their jobs. So I would like to think that, due diligence was done before they brought these persons on. And in the sense of, okay, you're going to be building? All right, let me see what you've done before.
So you think in the perhaps in the 9 months that they were in office, during that time, back and forth traveling to different places, that they would have had the time to, well, I don't know.
You kind of have me speechless there.
Let's take this call. Caller, you're on the air. Okay, that person hung up. Well, one of the things that came up yesterday too, which was a little concerning, is the fact that one of the contractors actually said that he's been teaching his craft to others, and the others are foreigners. And he is lamenting that fact that there's so many Kittitian and divisions don't seem to be interested.
Right, I did hear that part.
He would prefer if he was teaching Kittitians and divisions.
Right, I did hear him say that he wished that more young persons would take up the field and be interested in the craft. I also heard him say that, when you hire somebody, like maybe a contractor here or a workman here, you're hiring somebody that can do at least 5 things. So this person can lay tiles, they can run plumbing, they can, so, it's kind of like a multi-talented person you're hiring. So I really think that they need to do some sort of like a town hall.
Back to the phones. Caller, you're on the air.
Hey, good morning to everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
Oh, yeah, I'm here enjoying the sun.
Oh, good.
After that, the air con shall run. It shall run.
Hey, that's a little couplet there.
All right.
It rhymes and everything.
At my age, I got to stop watching the money and watching the temperature.
That's true. It's
I
very
don't tell
hot.
my daughter, look, you see the bill look high, just pay it. Lord, Father, I tell the whole nation, go and pray for rain.
Yes.
Pray for rain.
We definitely
Because
need
the animals in danger, Now, I was listening to the ambassador, Nata, and he said some interesting thing. You know how we complaining about they take over the shopping? The Chinese have taken over the retail sector. Well, the Chinese taking over the housing sector too. I don't know if we all look at it that way,
Well, have they done any houses before?
They're not just giving the money, because he said, when asked what is the return, he said, well, the houses belong to them, and part of the mortgage payment goes to the investor. Listening to another station, they said the money is actually coming from China. I don't know if the man is a builder, but the owner of the money actually comes from a Chinese company. They call the name.
Yes, it's in the thing that they put out.
Yeah, so you also about the Belt and Silk Road.
Mm-hmm.
So it has reached us.
But how many houses have the Chinese constructed? I know they constructed Ramada. I know they were doing
Ramada
some work over at Royal St. Kitts, I think it was.
No,
when they were refurbishing.
Oh,
no,
and
no.
the one by Ross.
And the place up on the hill.
Oh, the university thing, close going towards Ross.
And then there's
the hotel thing there.
There's this Radisson
and when
place.
people complain, just say, "Oh well, is the investors' wish." Now he also said, I think what the Chinese one said, or the Trinidadian, one house can be built in a month.
Mm-hmm.
In a month,
Mm-hmm.
So I was doing a little mental calculation. Well, how much work will our people get? And they're bringing in the supervisors and all of that.
But
I mean that our
don't we
people
think,
are only going to be masons.
But I think maybe we should wait to see what is.
No. But the reason have you ever seen houses that my mother used to build?
Oh, that is true. I just remember that. But no, I'm
Yeah,
saying
if
they can't negotiate such a deal as whereby for
could,
instance,
done.
okay, so for instance, when you're doing like work permits, like if you want to hire a foreign person, you have to prove that no one in St. Kitts can do the job before you hire.
Well, let me tell you.
That's how work permits go.
Well, let me tell you.
Mm-hmm.
You see, when they're building Marriott, and I'm talking from experience from my work, because I used to visit the site and talk to Angelo Dizen. He was the brother of Vic. Vic's property.
Mm-hmm.
And he had come. They brought him about 400 Canadians. You didn't know that? Right where they have below the hotel, these apartments.
Mm-hmm. What were they? I know what you mean. I think they turned them into Marriott residences. But what were they brought in for?
Those were actually built to house the Canadians. I remember one time I go over there and I saw one of them drive with this little tobacco.
Mm-hmm.
I asked the man, well, why are they driving these things? This is what our people can do.
Mm-hmm.
And his response was, well, Kittitians don't want to work after 4. So these people go work midnight. Not only that, they were contracted out of Canada, and as he said, they had to be paid Canadian wages. So they were working for 2 and 3 times what we were getting. So they used all manner of excuse, and they were given permission to bring in all of those Canadians. So once you have a political party, it's politics,
But what I'm saying, Miss Henry,
they tend to overlook the law. Where you bring an investment, whatever you want to get.
But Miss Henry, one of the things I'm saying is that when these people negotiate contracts, right? All of these things are mentioned in the contracts, like how many persons they can bring in, how many locals they have to hire, and all of that. So my point was that we don't know what the contract said back then, and we don't know what this new contract is going to say.
Let me ask a question. Shouldn't contracts be filed at the courthouse or where do they file them?
Oh no, contracts.
Not contracts.
They would be signed by the parties, and the parties would have copies of them. It's for the parties to enforce them. If there's
when the government does it, is it any different?
If it's perhaps if it's a lease agreement of that magnitude, but normal contracts don't have to.
Yes, so sometimes we argue with the wrong set of people. I said it before, our people cannot negotiate. They want a house, so we don't get them a house to keep them quiet. Now, they also said that the roof would be concrete. Concrete roof in an earthquake zone. Is that safe, You know that, right?
One of the things I wanted to make a point about earlier is that the blueprints aren't available yet, neither any drawings of what of what is going to be provided. So I think at this point in time, it's just curiosity and the lack of information that's getting to us.
I believe it's an assumption that our people are stupid, I keep telling people. So I think they assume we don't know, we don't care as long as we get the thing. So I said, imagine you can got 2,400 homeowners obligated to the Chinese government. And then it brings up the question of pressure to change allegiance.
But how are they
Because
obligated
that's what they do in
to
some
the
countries.
Chinese government?
In some countries, they say, look, you can't have thing with Taiwan. Our money down there, we want to protect our money. You know, sometimes we don't tend to look at these things in the long term. But to me, they could have given 1,000, but not 2,400. They're actually leaving no space for local contractors. What they should do, all right, allow people even on their own land to put down, the NHC type of houses with the wooden roof sensor.
I think NHC did have a program whereby you can apply to get a house.
Yeah, but they're now pushing these houses, you know.
Because when they had the fair, there was a fair that was held up at, I think it was Bladen, Sustainability Ministry.
I know about that, but I'm talking about what they're saying now. Anybody who wants one of these houses must apply. I am asking, is it possible now, you could ask the question for them, for people to apply to NHC for a house model like the farmer said?
I think
rather than having these concrete houses.
No, it was mentioned that you can apply, but it didn't say where.
They didn't say what either. They said, I think they said you can apply for the housing. If you have your land,
that's what I mean.
They would build on your land. So if you already have land. But if not, then you'd have to wait until they get land and they start assigning. But you can apply, and then further down the road, you will decide, well, okay, I want to wait for the house, or I want to wait for when you get land and put the house on it, or I already have my land and you can build on it. So I think that's what they were saying.
And decide what model house they want. But I am saying 2,400 is too many for one foreign company to control. We turn around.
But
and
the foreign company is the financier.
Financier?
Yeah, that's it.
We decide what we want. Look, let me tell you again. When you go and turn over 2,400 houses to the company, remember the company owns them, NHC will not own them. They invest the money, they own them. As Nata said, they would get the returns from the mortgage payment. So we don't own them. You do not own them. Sankey don't own them. That's the point, you know. I'm saying, what space are we leaving for our own people? So for the local, Sunquest, or Boardwalk.
Yes.
You know, that was built by Peter Jenkins' father.
Oh, I didn't know that. I know the area.
Peter Jenkins' father put on the housing project, Sunquest.
Interesting.
And other people have, so I'm saying, what space are you leaving, for local contractors to do housing projects? You have TDC, our local companies. What space are you leaving for our local people to invest in housing? We got to ask the questions now, you know.
It's funny that you said TDC.
Oh, the AG listening. The AG will assign.
It's funny that you said TDC, because one of the contractors yesterday said that his issue with the way the prison project was run is that TDC, Horsford, and he mentioned some other company were the only companies that would have really benefited, because that's where you're buying material from.
On the proposed one, only the hardwares would benefit, because they're going to provide the concrete, the cement, and the masonry and the other one. That's what he said, you know. What we're going to get, they're going to supply the materials. But in terms of the contractors, they're not going to work as contractors, they're going to work as masons, plumbers, and electricians. And they bring in their people, they make it clear.
Okay, well,
he said at the prison, they work in batches. So when one batch finish, so you don't know how many batches there actually are.
You remember him also saying that the way the Chinese worked was almost military style, because they lived on the compound. So
they live on the compound.
And he was comparing that to the way our citizens work.
Fault, you know. They bring them in, right? Even in supermarkets, you see them. They work them like slaves. Sometimes you see one person cashing from morning till night. And people are complaining already. It goes down over in Port Zante too.
You know, Sylvine,
they bring in the people and they work them like slaves.
Sylvine, I just think it's just embarrassing and shameful that we're even having this conversation.
They don't feel so.
Where at the government, no, meaning that we have a government,
I know.
we have successive governments
They ain't gonna respect our people.
letting other racial groups come in here and walk all over us and doing things on their terms and not ours.
We complaining
I do
about
not
they already take over
understand.
the retail section.
I do not understand it.
And then you bring them in now to control the housing thing. Well, what we own?
Well, quite
What do
frankly,
we
I beg
own?
to differ with both of you. I don't think the Chinese will be controlling
You don't have to
anything.
think. You say go.
It says, no, you are entitled to your opinion, as I am to
Yes,
mine.
that you too.
And
I
it
appreciate
says,
yours, eh?
it says that the SINKITS, SKN, Ministry of Housing and Human Settlement, is the executing agency for the project. So I'm
You
not
own
sure
it.
where we get off that the Chinese going to be running it and own it.
Let me say it again, in case you didn't hear. Because that interview was being done about the housing thing in Guyana. You heard that interview?
No.
They were to be given 200 acres, I think, of land in Guyana. The same company, eh? Because the man was saying, oh, we have business in St. Kitts, Antigua, and we're going to have one in Guyana where they're going to put down these houses on 200 acres of land. And, you could build a house in a month. Mr. Michael, well, what kind of work is that?
Were you listening to this interview?
It was on one of the radio station. I think either the Caribbean, but it was, maybe you could check the Guyana thing.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll check it out.
Yes, the Guyana government is giving them this land, or providing, I don't have given, I'm just providing, on which they plan to build these houses. And they mentioned that, we have done work in Antigua and St. Kitts. I said, which part of St. Kitts? They have a contract, but they haven't done any work.
Well, Ms. Henry,
And when the man mentioned that you could build a house in a month, I said, well, boy, I said, very poor workers, them.
Oh my! We're gonna let someone else get a chance to
but,
call in.
all
But
right,
thank
you check out the Guyana
Yes,
thing, see if you
we're
can
gonna
find
go
it.
hunt it down just so that we can all be on the same page. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Miss Henry.
But in Dwyer's commentary, I don't remember if it's the first part or the second part. He ran down the list of Chinese companies that were involved. Apparently, they're going to be building. A Chinese company is going to be building a ready mix concrete thing. So I was thinking, well, don't we have
Where did he get that information from?
Dwyer? Well, I don't think he's I don't think he's stupid enough to do a commentary with stuff that's not true.
That's not the question I asked.
Where did he get it?
Asked
I
where
don't
he
know.
got
I don't know where
the
he
information
got the information from. But
because if I'm not mistaken, we have a company that does that already.
no, that's what I'm saying.
And then there's one in Nevis.
But that's what I said. That's what he was
No, I
saying.
didn't deny what you
He
or
said-
him said.
he's
I'm
saying,
just
well,
trying to figure out
He's
why.
saying, well, why is a Chinese company setting up a cement processing plant when we have cement processing plants here? I don't think maybe a lot of people today. It's just Wednesday. Maybe most people haven't heard the commentary yet.
I don't think that a lot of people know that information either, because I,
Yes.
for one, don't.
How long is the commentary?
Well, I cut it up into bits.
Yeah.
To make it more, like Timbits.
Yeah.
You guys want to hear? Well, this one. Let me see. We can probably play the first half.
Yeah.
It's oh God, where is it? I just had it here.
How much
Okay.
minutes?
I think it's 6 minutes. Troy is coming for our thing, so maybe we can play it and then.
Yeah, we could play.
Yeah, okay, we have 6 minutes, so
we,
hit
so
it.
that we could play it now, going to try and then discuss it after.
Yeah. Okay, and then the other one is just about 6 minutes, or just slightly less than 6
All right,
minutes.
play it and stop wasting.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Because we're gonna lose
No,
time.
we're gonna lose time.
No. I just had it here, and okay, here we go. Is it
Okay.
this one? Housing one. Yeah. Okay, housing one. Okay.
And we want to come to this proposal by our government to have 2,400 houses built over the next 4 years, 600 houses a year, under contract with some foreign business people. Don't get me wrong. I have nothing against foreign people. How could I? What I want to see done right is the processes being managed so that the principal purpose of government, which is to protect and promote our citizens, is obeyed. So here are some questions and comments. 1. Given the scope of this project, intended to house about 20% of the population, Should there not have been sharing of information and consultations with the public? I think so. 2, if houses are to be built on government lands, the new citizenship by investment regulations say that the homes will belong to the government on completion. So it would in effect be a government project. Private investors, private developers, public good. That's fine. Has due diligence been done on East Coast housing development out of Trinidad, on Bryco Renewable Energy Group, on Brian Singh of Trinidad? Has due diligence been done on an Irish man who lives in China, who gives the name of Jerry? Has due diligence been done on Cetaform out of Guyana, and Cetaform out of China, and Nanjing Cement Company out of China, and Amix Company also out of China? I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I'm just putting to you what I humbly suggest are important questions to be asked and answered. These are names we are seeing and hearing in relation to this project. And are there any other businesses that are intended to be involved? Is anyone fronting for any other company or interest group? The same man, Jerry, is seen on a video interview in which he said that the houses will come with fridges, TVs, toasters, dishwashers, etc., which he said will be part of the price, and which will be more than likely manufactured in China. So possibly, whether you want these appliances or not, you may still have to pay for them, which would be another smart way of pushing Chinese products into our economy, small as our economy may be. Will local suppliers of these items, and this is question 3, well, the third set of questions, will local suppliers of these items be able to compete with this? The same interview with Jerry was done in 2022, and in it he said that they had a contract with St. Kitts, Nevis and Grenada. Was that comment made before the elections of August 2022 or after? Which administration signed it with him or with them? Next, why are we allowing a company from China to come in here and put up what is claimed to be a $25 million concrete batching plant, when we already have local businesses that do that, and which should be encouraged and supported so they can build capacity to handle increased local demand, not only from this project but from others? Isn't that how you protect and promote your own? Next question. Has anybody considered that if this thing happens, these people could quickly, I mean the concrete people, become the dominant provider of concrete in our country? And what would that do to our local concrete providers? Push them out of the game and onto the breadline, and a number of local people losing their jobs? Are we thinking these things through? I don't believe a Chinese company is going to invest in a batching plant here just for one project. Next, have environmental, health, energy, water, social, logistical, security, and economic impact assessments been done on this project? If so, shouldn't they be discussed with the public? And if not, why not? Why were they not done? Next, will the lands where these houses are to be built be some of our best food producing land? Or will there be marginal land, which of course is the better option? Will infrastructure such as roads, water, electricity, internet, cable, sewage systems, etc. be installed? Because we know that a lot of lots have been given out over the years in areas where there are no services. Will spaces in these developments be allocated for flower gardens or subsistence backyard farming, for play and community areas, for commercial areas? That is how you develop settlements. You make sure that the amenities are in, not just a house for somebody to live in. Is there any debt exposure for the government? If so, how much? And how could that affect the fiscal and financial operations of the government over the next 4 or more years? What is this cretiform technology that they're talking about? I heard Mr. Leon Natter Nelson say that it could withstand a Category 10. hurricanes. Well, we know that he was joking because there's no such thing as a Category 10 hurricane. But seriously, what can these houses stand up to? And if it is different from what our people are accustomed to, and it is, whether our potential homeowners or our contractors, whoever it may be, is there not an information and education process that should be put underway with regard to our people knowing about the technology? If I'm repeating myself, forgive me, but I think it is important.
Very important considerations to be made.
Wait, but before we go any further, I'm listening to all our complaints. I'm listening to his commentary. I know he's making, valid point. He has valid questions. But what I want to know is it that we have such little faith in our government? Do we think, why do we always jump to the conclusion that if somebody is coming to do something, that the government has forgotten that its citizens need work, that its citizens need whatever commodity it is?
Because
why do we automatically say, well, what happened? The government, these people gonna come and take our job, these people gonna come and take this. Do we not think that the government that's supposed to be working for us, that we would have put in power, that we entrust with, our livelihoods and for providing for us, wouldn't have thought all of these same questions that we are asking? I just want to put that question out there.
But
no.
I mean, I can understand.
I'm sorry, doesn't seem so.
No, because we always go to this thing. Oh, what's gonna happen to our people? What's gonna happen to jobs for us? What's gonna happen to this? But are you saying that a government that is a petition government, just like us, would not have thought about its citizens?
Well, I think the question to be answered is that throughout the whole process, we have seen not a wide information being given as to what the project is going to undertake.
Okay.
Well, and the source of the information came not from St. Kitts and Nevis at first, but outside.
Yeah, and that again is bad.
I know
That's
that.
a whole
No,
other
I
story.
agree with that. They should have done a press release or something before, but that still doesn't answer the question I'm asking.
Okay.
Why do we always jump to the conclusion that the government
Let's
doesn't
stick
have
up in
our
here.
best interests at heart?
We have Sean. We have Sean next. Yeah, we have
This
Sean.
is going to be heated.
I'm saying Sean. Why am I saying Sean? Try.
I was trying to figure out who Sean
Try,
is.
yeah,
Yesterday
try.
you
I
gave
was-
Troy. Well, last week you gave
Troy
Troy
had a whole son.
a whole son, and now you give him a whole name.
What's it gonna be next week?
903 Farm Report coming up next.
I want to know who's this Sean.
I was
And,
like, who's Sean you keep talking about?
Yes.
Old age group in him.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
Treat your mom this Mother's Day with gifts from the TDC Home and Building Depots. Shop in-store from the 2nd through 13th of May and get 20% off our housewares and household items that will surely make her day even more special. Not sure what to buy? Gift her a TDC gift card and let her choose her heart's desires. If you're looking for the perfect gift for this Mother's Day, go to the place where every mom shops. The TDC Home and Building Depots. Terms and conditions apply. See stores for details.
Strapped for cash? Get Instacash. Payday late? Get Instacash. Have items new or used you don't need? Get cash for them at Instacash. We buy and sell quality new and used tools, electronics, jewelry, household items, and more. If you're strapped for cash, think Instacash. Sell an item for cash or buy an item. Ask about the convenient Instacash layaway plans and buyback options. Instacash is same-day cash, no credit checks, and guaranteed privacy. Get cash for your goods. Visit Instacash across from Caribbean Lotto in the Hosswoods Complex or call 465-0222 and 669-8390.
Well, it's time for Farm Report. We've got Troy.
Troy, a jam said Troy, not Sean.
And not Kyle's father.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Kyle's brother.
I don't know where that came from.
Too much coffee.
Yeah.
Good
no
morning,
coffee.
Troy.
That's the problem. Maybe.
How are you?
Welcome to the...
Good morning, Jamster. Good morning to all listening out there in Radio Land. And those viewing also.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning.
Yes. How are you doing today?
Doing very well. Pretty okay.
Yeah, you look.
In spite of the heat.
I know, but you actually look like, energized. You look like you're ready to take on the world.
I believe, based on the topic I plan to discuss today, probably that's what have me.
I could just be the vitamin D from all that sun.
Maybe.
So tell us, what is the topic this morning?
First, I would just like to extend on behalf of the consortium, St. Kitts Nevis Consortium of Farmers and Growers, and also on my own behalf and my family, condolences to the family of the late Warrington Grant. Right. Warrington Grant was a giant in the farming community. Mm-hmm. Yes. So he'll be sadly missed.
Yes. Deepest condolences to the family.
Indeed, the condolences, my sympathies I wish to extend.
How old was he? Do we know?
About 90.
Yeah, wow. He was batting well.
Mm-hmm,
yeah. Last week, Mr. Flanders was here. The younger Flanders.
His brother.
Well, let's leave it as the younger Flanders. And he shed a light on the import of goods. So I also want to continue from where he left off, but in a different angle. Because what I really want to speak to about today is the lack of opportunities for the farming community, the farmers, because of these imports. The major supermarkets, they take less from us than we actually could produce. So that's where I want to go with this conversation.
Okay.
Yeah. We produce, but yet we can't get our stuff sell to these major supermarkets in the numbers that we want. And the thing is that we could produce it. But for some reason, the major supermarkets will just take a small amount from us just to say that they are taking something from us, but then they're doing the bulk of the importation.
What's the process like getting it into the supermarket? I'm curious.
Well, most of the time they will call and try to make the market. We call them and say, well, we have this available and so. And they will say, okay, bring this amount or what. But that process.
So it's you calling, let's say maybe the manager or the supervisor at a supermarket saying, well, look, I have carrots.
Yeah.
And then they would say, okay, bring like 10 pounds or 5 pounds, not 25 or,
Well,
what's the process like?
That's the whole idea trying to get across. We will say we have carrots. For instance, let's use carrots because carrots is abundant right now. You find they're bringing in this amount of carrots, but yet they will call you. They'll call a farmer and say, "Okay, bring me 100 pounds of carrots." When they take 100 pounds of carrot from one farmer, they might not take from another farmer, but yet the pontoon coming in with thousands of pounds of carrots. So you find this farmer now will stuck with all the carrots that he have. And they will say, okay, we take him from you, but how much are you taking? There was a point in time that when we have things in abundance, they don't import. They had a kind of ban like on it.
Right.
Yeah, but it's not happening. So you find the farmers right now, for the past, let's say 5-6 years, it's been a downhill slide for the farming community. Most farmers today, farmers who I look up to before I get serious into the industry, who was striving, they are struggling now.
Now, is this, so you said it's been going on for the last 5-6 years. So it's been raised before with the relevant parties.
Yes, this is something that ongoing. We keep talking about
and when you go to the supermarkets or when you approach them, do you guys like sign any contracts or documentation? No. So it's just like, I have this and so is it, I'm just being devil's advocate now. Is it that they don't know that you can supply this consistently, so they just take it as you go, like a kind of pay as you go type of thing?
Yes. One thing, they don't even say want to enter into no conversation with the farmers. They don't say want to even say allow you to express yourself and say, well, we could afford to do this, we have this, we could supply you this for this amount of time and so. And so,
you guys have tried to set up meetings to go sit down and say, this is what my planting season looks like. So in January, I can give you this, February, this, da-da-da.
So you're saying
they don't always want to hear that.
So you're saying the large supermarkets that have the food on display and that we purchase from don't have conversations with the farmers?
Not meaningful conversation.
Wow.
And what I'm saying too, even at the Department of Agriculture, they have a unit there, the marketing unit, that we carry stuff there and they distribute amongst the supermarkets also. But even at the department where we will carry stuff, they take a limited amount still.
Because they probably know that they can't get any more to the supermarket.
The supermarket will take a limited amount from the department.
Right.
But at the same time, they bring in.
So then it comes back to our negotiating skills. One of the things that I always say that I miss is Simaco because of what it was supposed to represent. Right? Simaco, I think, was where all the farmers carried all their local produce. So that's where I would have gravitated to first if I was going to go buy vegetables and the like. So that's gone. And I know that Mr. Morton was putting forward an idea where you guys have like something set up whereby people would go directly there to get large amounts. But what I'm concerned about is the fact that you're saying that you're not even allowed to have a conversation to say, well,
but when
I can give you more than 10 pounds, I can give you up to 50 pounds, and I can do this every week so that your supply doesn't run low. I can replenish it. I think for me that is a little bit more concerning because then it leaves you without a voice and any bargaining power.
But then try to piggyback off of what Candisie said. In terms of the Simaco, has the consortium ever thought about actually coming together and creating a structure like Simaco, where it is that you can be your own, I want to say, you could chart your own destiny. You could really put a foot in the game by coming together.
To be honest with you, the consortium is young, but all those are plans we have going forward. But in the interim, by the time maybe we trash out those plans, there won't be no farmers. La Amiga, land of fertile soil.
Yes.
And the farmers cannot make a decent livelihood from the land.
Do you guys have like a proposal that you can present to the minister or the PS or maybe like our plans? Because I know, and I only ask that because I know he's having a meeting tomorrow, livestock farmers meeting with Honorable Samuel Duggins tomorrow at 5:30 at the Department of Agriculture. So I saw that and I screenshot it because I wanted to come ask you about it, right? So I'm doing my research. But do you guys have like something in writing, something that he can hold, you can present it to him, and he knows that these are the plans, and then you guys could probably hold it to, hold it, I don't want to say against, but hold it against him in the event that they say you guys never had a plan, you didn't know what you were doing, you were just talking.
The consortium started a while back. We had approached Juan Collins before with our plan, marketing plans, and the way forward, which we want to see, which is the same thing now we take into this administration. We supposed to have a meeting with the minister. The date haven't set as yet.
A written plan, like a booklet, like a proposal put together.
We have sit down and work out things and put things on paper. The consortium does that.
Okay.
And so that is there. We yet to set a date, but I think it's going to be soon with the minister. But I don't think, I will say that I might be controversial by saying it. I don't think leaving the room, the plan will go anywhere else. Because,
but who has to put the plan into effect?
Because if you take a look at the budget in agriculture for this year, you will see the resources that they put towards the agriculture, right?
How much was allotted?
So I think it was 25, but when you do break it down, it will be maybe next to nothing, a couple million, maybe 2-3 million going directly into the sector. So when you look at it, the government will have to want best for their people. I see no reason why the Ministry of Trade and they cannot get together and decide, well, I know these farmers getting knocked out and stop the slaughtering of the farmers.
It's funny that you brought that up because yesterday after you left for court, Jamster and I were talking about how the ministries are kind of like scattered and one person has too many portfolios, you know. So trade is not with agriculture. Trade is, and small business is not with trade. Small business is under the same person who's running agriculture. So it's a bit all over the place.
I had a conversation before with persons. It's like they're ministers of government, yes. They sit in cabinet, and all of them hold different portfolios.
Some of them don't even connect. They don't match. So it's
don't they have conversations with each other to say, well, this is what my ministry wants to do, but we'll need the assistance of this ministry. Could you assist us here? Could you create the framework, or could you create the assistance? You know,
sometimes be honest, I wonder. I just feel like if I'm hot and I'm exhausted and I'm overwhelmed and I'm only running 2 companies, imagine them trying to run 4 ministries. Like,
but at the end of the day,
they took the job.
They took the job. So if you take the job, knowing that other persons were there wanting the job, I think it's the best. It's best that you put your best foot forward.
I mean, you know about the 25 by 25 program which the government signed on to across the OECS. Mm-hmm. Okay, where are we at with that in St. Kitts Nevis? Where are we?
Silence.
So the thing is that I ain't come here to bash nobody.
Yes.
But you make a valid point.
I come here to represent the consortium, and this is how we are thinking.
Yes.
And while I'm at it, I would like to plead to the citizens, please to buy local. Please, I'm begging you, support your farmers.
Yeah.
The farming community is bleeding.
Do we plant grapefruit here?
I don't think on a large scale.
Yep. So I've been hunting for grapefruit for the last week, so that's not so
the major supermarkets, they have no interest.
Now that to me is disappointing to hear, and I was very, very shocked when it came out of your mouth, because every supermarket that I go in, you see local stuff there, but then of course that will run out, and then you'll see like so they kind of put them, side by side most of the time.
If he's saying that,
but I'm thinking like, if you see the local set is finished, wouldn't you call the farmer to bring more as opposed to pushing? But I guess they want to sell the set that they imported.
Yeah.
So there must be somebody. There must be somebody with a voice that can represent, because we have a lot of supermarkets here.
But the thing about it, is it that, again, perhaps the question has been asked already, is it that the farmers can supply a consistent amount to the supermarket so they feel assured that, okay, then at the end of the day, I'm going to get this consistent amount? It has been,
because that was one of my queries.
How will a farmer be consistent if he's not getting a good sale? We're here for money to turn over the
No, but what I think...
And the thing is, right, as I say, capital is the most important thing in farming.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you cannot get a good sale, you can't get no money. Mm-hmm. And there are nothing in place that will assure you that you could get capital to turn over and be consistent. The infrastructure to push agriculture forward is not in place. That's where the government come in, right? And also, the government come in the Ministry of Trade and Agriculture, coming together to secure the market for the farmers. Because, you look at America and other places, they secure their market. You see, everybody talk about Donald Trump. When Donald Trump decided, he put in a tariff and the Chinese produce were coming in. And so they kick up, but then he was protecting his own people. There are ways in the trade laws that could protect us, the farmers. And I will tell you this. Those guys, the big supermarket, they ain't got no problem when the pontoon come, because they ain't paying no tax on the pontoon. When the pontoon land, they ain't paying nothing from the pontoon. So they don't have no problem, because they might source some inferior food out there and bring it in here cheap.
But Troy, though, the question to that point, the question is the fact that a lot of people complain that sometimes the domestic produce is actually more expensive more expensive than the imported stuff, although it might be better. So, and then you come back to the thing. I think Kyle, I don't know if it was you or Kyle who mentioned it last week or the week before, where you're talking about the fact that a lot of the farmers do not use standard scientific practices to figure out, okay, how much is it costing me to farm? How much is it costing me to produce this batch of produce? Okay, I'm gonna sell it at this because, okay, I just did the math. I plugged it in, and this is what it should cost. They just decide. Apparently, it's arbitrary from what I've been told, and that's a problem. And
the price.
So that makes you uncompetitive.
I will tell you this: the price for fresh produce is probably 30 years old. You find we sell.
You mean when you take it to the marketing department at agriculture?
The price is about that. So you find maybe.
So it hasn't been upgraded.
No. If you find local produce is expensive on the street, you have nothing to do with the farmers.
Good grief.
No. So it's not just as someone put it, or they just get up and decide, I'm selling them for this.
But then most of the farmers are not on the street selling. They sell it to someone else who now puts up a little stall or is in a supermarket and they sell it. So I think what he's saying is that when they take it to Ministry of Agriculture to sell it, those are the same prices they've been using for the last 30 years.
For a while, yeah.
And then whoever purchases it, they put the markup on.
You're fine, right? Let's take, for instance, MPK. A large bag of MPK, £100. Bag of MPK back then.
Okay. What is MPK?
That's fertilizer. Right? Might have cost us $80. Mm-hmm. Right? Now you go to TDC, you get a half a bag for $90. But yet our producer move. You find like sweet peppers. A pack of seed with 1,000 might have cost us back then maybe $80, $90. Now it's 200 and plus.
And this is a complaint you guys have raised that the prices need to change, and they're 30 years old.
Yeah, the prices of the inputs keep going up.
Right, but the output.
But our produce haven't moved. And we can't afford to move our prices because the consumer is who gonna feel it.
I mean, we already feeling it.
So we have no problem in keeping the prices, but help us with the inputs, help it get it down.
Yeah.
And I got to get back to the marketing thing with the large supermarket. I mean, I will tell you this. As much as we beat up on the Chinese and them, there are some small supermarkets, but the Chinese, them buy most of the local.
Yes.
They accommodate the farmers.
I've seen that.
Yeah. So a broken clock is right once a day. So yeah. You want to take a call?
Sure.
Take one call.
Okay, let's move over. Farm Report, you're on the air.
Greetings, Island T, once more.
Hey.
Greetings.
Okay, to comment on the topic of kind of farming. But before we go there, we want to pick up on something that the Christian said. You said, if we don't think that government put in the shaking up thing, consider all, you use the word all, of the questions and queries that we may have. And I am telling you, no, not all, perhaps some.
Maybe some.
They don't have it all. They don't know it all.
Fair
Never.
Enough. Fair enough.
So it is, therefore, please let me finish. Therefore, it is important to get some from out here and put it in place if it is positive. You may speak.
Your turn.
Why, thank you for your permission to giving me for me to speak on my own show. Thank you for the permission. All I was saying is that you're making a valid point.
Okay, thank you. Perfect is allowed. No, my farmer brethren there. We see the economic warfare, and we see the lack of protection, because I went to a funeral, when I start with economic warfare, I went to a funeral, June funeral of this year, and I sit down in the church's park. I usually go in the church, but the church's park, so I sit down outside, having a conversation with my farmer brethren from Monkey Hill. And I started the conversation with him by letting him know that them and those do not want to see farmers be millionaires. Yes, that's what I tell Reds. And it is a fact. And listen now, the lack of protection, the dissing, etc., etc. So therefore, hear me now. Don't you think that we, as born people, should identify a product, whether it's tomatoes, whether it's sweet peppers, whatever, and monopolize from that, come together and decide, say, even if it's ganja, you know, just identify a project where we can be all millionaires. Let them know that this item not to come in. We will supply it. Collectively, we will supply it. And not only here, but we export to islands near us and beyond. Don't you think it is time that we consider something like this? Blessed love.
Interesting question.
And he used the word protection. That is where we the conversation we having. The administration have to protect the people. You have to protect the farmers.
And serious consideration and discussion must be had between the ministry and the farmers to ensure that, you know, because these are a lot of issues that you're raising, a very lot of
but
issues.
More than one ministry, not just agriculture, but trade like you highlighted, maybe even small business. Yeah. Because the thing is, like, I remember your very first show, one of the things you said is that they don't consider farmers as being in business. Right, I think that's one of the complaints you had initially. They don't see them as like this. They would see another business person.
You know, look. I said I wasn't going there, but since you're talking about how they look at it, they had the open day, and everybody said it was a huge success. For who? Success for who? It was a show. Was it a success for the farmers? Did anybody leave there feeling better about the state of the farming community? Does any farmer get bombarded with cars for juice when you leave that show? When you leave that, it was a show. So what yardstick they use to measure success? Well, at the end of it, thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars was spent. Is the farming community in a better position as a result? The answer is a clear no. And to this day, you call any farmers and ask them, who calling you, who bombarding your phone want produce? It is advertised for the night market. Most people go in the market, they go into a certain business establishment, buy the stuff and carry them down there to retail. It's not going to benefit the farming community because we are in such bad shape that we cannot produce how we want to produce. It will not benefit the farming community. It is all a show. So it's until they look at us. The Ministry of Agriculture, I'm sorry, I'm going to get a lot of licks for this, has been treated like a show. Night market after night market with no result for the farmers.
Define no result for the farmers after a night market. I want to be
What
clear.
I'm saying that you don't see no boost in sales.
Or even inquiries.
Exactly.
Right. You know, you make a very good point. And now you have me thinking, like, what was the purpose of the open day? I thought it was to advertise what we have here that would lead persons now to those persons as suppliers. And I was sitting, I think it was on the last day of the open day. I was sitting with a bunch of persons, and at least 3 of them out of the group said, everybody that went to the open day bought fish. They were like, you couldn't come away from the open day without fish. So I was like, why? Was it like really cheap, or was it in abundance? Like what? But, you know, they were just like, well, yeah, the fish was selling at a good price. So everybody that went to the open day bought fish. But back to your point, does that mean that these fishermen are now going to have consistent customers? Does it mean that if I bought sweet potato, I'm going to keep coming back to you for sweet potato? So
when you say fish, what fish you tell them about?
Like fresh fish.
Well, I know they had some fish, fish meatballs, fish balls.
Ornamental fish.
You sure? Because you know.
But
you sure
I know they had no because
the fisheries were there.
Yeah, they had those, and then they had like even people selling lobster. Because I remember like one of my staff members, her daughter teacher called her and said, your daughter want to buy a lobster.
Because now you talk about that.
There was cooked food.
I know
If
that
the lobster was raw.
some parents were saying that their children came home with fish.
Yeah.
As in the live ones.
Oh, well, maybe that's the fish they mean. I probably should have inquired more. But I know they had fish there, and I know they had lobster on sale and things of that nature. But it's making me think now, like, so why nobody buy anything else?
But to Troy's point and to the point, you remember me last week saying that I remember growing up always thinking, getting the sense, when I was growing up even, that the agricultural exhibition was a big show. Because the thing is, you would go...
But it is sort of a show to showcase what we have
I know,
available.
but what I mean
there should
is,
also be
yeah, but what I mean is...
section whereby you could place orders.
You would go and you'd see stuff and you're like, really? We do that here?
Right.
But then you can't find it afterwards. Like, I referenced last week with Kyle the fact that they had turkey up there and this other bird that they use for poultry, for food.
Guinea bird.
Yeah. So I was like, well, is anybody farming those? I mean, somebody could start somewhere.
I remember you asking.
Yeah. So I'm like, why show us if no one's going to try and at least farm some turkey and farm some guinea birds and, you know?
I know time running.
But
and the same thing and the same thing applies to a lot of the produce. You see stuff and you're like, oh man, that pumpkin is really big.
Right.
And this looks really good.
But it is in itself a show, like you rightly said, but it should be a showcasing of what we have that we can offer, and there should be somebody there from maybe the ministry or the consortium saying like, okay, this is the way the distribution will go. If you, so you would expect supermarkets would visit and other persons, maybe restaurants, hotels would visit, and then they would contract to take orders. So apparently that was not part of it.
And clearly there's potential, because you see stuff and you're like, how is it we don't see? And say, yeah. For example, fisheries had fish balls, which are already pre-seasoned and everything, right? So I said,
is that fisheries or a separate person?
No, fisheries. They had. So I said, well, you guys. He said, yes, we sell it up at the fisheries complex. I was like, really? Okay. Yeah. So they had fish and other stuff like mahi and other things. Let's take another call, because we weren't getting that many, but I'm trying to. Go ahead, caller.
Hello, good morning.
Hi.
Good morning.
What's going on with agriculture? What family referring to? It's like a man get a woman pregnant, and after 9 months, he don't want to shop. Never, no kind of money to help the woman to go to a doctor. Now, nothing, I'm buying no clothes, nothing for the child. And it's like after 9 months, the farmer is gonna see the Minister of Agriculture for the very first time, and we do not know which day it's gonna be. I know. The fishermen and they're going to see him this afternoon. Animal farmers going to see him tomorrow. But the crop farmers, we do not know when we're going to see him. It's a total embarrassment to us. Good morning, goodbye.
Thank you for your call and your contribution. Yeah.
I know you did mention that there's a meeting set up, but to his
No,
point,
the consortium.
The consortium.
Okay. Another topic I had wanted to touch on. Because, everybody have to look out to their own interests.
Yeah.
And we realized that the vendors were removed from the street and they were put in a control area. But making that decision, they never take the farmers in consideration. And removing the vendors off the street, our income has dropped more than 50%.
All the vendors haven't come back out?
No. The vendors are in a control position.
Right.
It's area. But by putting them in a control area, the farmers is at a disadvantage. Our income has dropped more than 50%.
But Troy, I have to say though, we have a public market, no? I mean, don't people know they can go to the public market?
The public market, yes, but you have no parking, and you know what parking does,
But
and then,
as
a result of putting them down there, there's some business upstream who benefited most from them being down there. But the establishment upstream does not buy no quantity from the farmers.
Vicious cycle.
So therefore we at a disadvantage. So we had proposed to then Pierce there's a street in Bastille. Why not just designate that street for vending of fresh produce?
Which street was that?
That's Princess Street.
Oh.
Because most things, this is watermelon season coming up. You will soon see mangoes and guinea and so. People buy those by impulse.
But why Princess Street?
Well, part of the street already black.
Because they're forever building this one building. Yeah.
Part of the street already black. If you decide you're going to use it two sides of the street, because what happened, you have people walking. It's within walking distance in the heart of town. People walking, people buy an impulse, and I think you will generate more business.
And this would be a daily thing, everybody on Princess Street.
Whether it's a daily thing or twice a thing.
No. The only reason I'm asking is because I'm thinking Bank Street, where they used to close off to have functions during Christmas, they usually close that off and do like a party type thing there.
Yeah. But he does have a point, because the other end is closed.
But no, Princess Street is all, for me, I think Princess Street is tiny. So it's already congested, but Bank Street is bigger. But I only asked that because I wanted to see where you were thinking.
Convenient because you already feel the lock off already.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be much of a
Let's take a call.
with the traffic.
Farm report.
Okay, good morning, gentlemen.
And Candy?
To Mr. Troy.
Yes, sir.
To Mr. Troy in there. Mr. Troy, let me tell you something. You're looking at 1 point, but there are 4 points on the earth. East, west, north, south. You're saying that by moving the vendors off the street, that the economy drop or whatever it is. But you're not looking at the safety of people who have to use the sidewalk that was blocked up with vendors. We're not saying that a vendor do not have a right to sell where they want to, but do not obstruct pedestrians who have to use the sidewalk. Need a vehicle that has to use the road, because many times pedestrians cannot pass on the sidewalk because people, customers, consumers who go to buy, they're blocking the sidewalk, and who want to pass, they have to step off the sidewalk in the road. Boom, a car may hit them on the elbow. So we got to look at the wide picture, protect everybody. No, you ain't gonna find nobody. The fisheries ain't gonna sell no fish on the side road. Everybody who want fish, they go up the fishery. And that is what the market is there for.
Can I say something, sir?
Don't go out in the street, go sell custard and soap powder and all that kind of thing.
Can I say something to you, sir?
Yeah.
You don't mind? I didn't propose putting the vendors back on the street willy-nilly.
No, I didn't say you didn't. I didn't say you proposed to put them there, you know.
I did propose using a street, which is Princess Street, to put the vendors, because that street will be controlled. They'll be in a controlled environment, but yet they will be in the heart of the town where people will go and visit them.
Okay, let me interject here now. Let me interject. Is Princess Street a mile or half mile from the market? You cannot block the street that is close to a roundabout.
So can I ask you something,
have
sir?
a street from 4 corners.
If you need a piece of watermelon and you're at the circus, will you walk all the way down by the market for a piece of watermelon?
Walking gonna kill me? Walking gonna
No, I just ask you. You could just duck into an establishment there and get the watermelon. There are more than one establishment there before the market to get the watermelon. Who will walk out from in the heart of town, go down there and get a piece of watermelon?
The fish market.
Okay, culture.
Okay. So, guys.
We went over time, but it was an interesting discussion.
We went a bit over time.
But I think I'm trying to see it from both sides, right? For me, and the reason why I asked you why you chose Princess Street is because for me, I understand location, but I was thinking that the street is narrow. So it's going to limit the amount of persons that can fit there anyway. And I know during Christmas time, they block off that street. Yeah. So what's blocking it off once or twice a day for marketing, right? So that's the reason I asked that. But to your point, going to the local market, it is indeed a hassle because there's no parking.
We have another caller.
Caller, go ahead and be brief because we have to wrap this up.
Yes, I will be brief. I don't want to upset Lady Carla.
A minute, please, McMahon. You've been here a lot of time before. Yes.
Yeah, basically what I wanted to point out was that we seem to be emphasizing shows rather than results. And we seem to have a problem with arriving at consensus, right? And, to do so, we need communication and feedback and good decision-making, right? For as somebody pointed out, the leaders don't have all the answers. Not even the technocrats have all the answers. They have different approaches. So we need to find a better way to arrive at best practices, right? And one way of doing that, for sure, is to make sure that all the stakeholders are involved at the front end rather than at the back end. Okay?
Correct.
Any major project or major policy need to have people making an input at the front end.
I agree.
I think that's what's lacking, and it has been lacking for successive government.
Yes.
Agreed.
Agreed. Okay,
Thank you so much for your contribution.
Okay.
Remember, I said that they needed to have a town hall on this same house situation,
Yes.
and this again is another town
And I think
hall.
that's again the problem. They knew. Other governments have had their faults as well, but I think consultation is important.
I think new or old, they need to have consultation because, and I do take the caller's point. I might have said all these things, but of course nobody has all of the answers or would have think of all of the situations that may arise. But my point was, I'm hoping at least that some of the questions that we're asking would have been things that would have popped up in their mind when they're going forward in any project. Right? But again, that's why we have a voice. That's why they should hold referendums. That's why they should have town hall meetings. Because
that's
again,
why they should have
you can't anticipate all the things that are going to happen.
That's what is trying to get a voice at the table.
Yes.
Let me wrap up here.
Yeah, please.
We have Potato Mele.
It's back.
Is it?
Is it 25th of May?
15 more days, yeah.
25th of May, Potato Mele.
Yes.
Yeah, it's on.
Sweet potato, right?
Sweet potato Mele,
yes.
yeah. It's on. And then before I go, I would like to say this. At the current trend we're going, within the next 2 to 3 years, I think the farming community will fall.
Oh, gosh.
At the current trend we're going. Layer meagle and the fertile soil, we soon no longer see people farming it. And before I leave, I would just like to say Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Enjoy your day. I'm not one big at saying Happy Mother's Day.
Yes, thank you.
You're early.
Yes.
Well, you now want me back here.
Yes, you're early.
I feel like we fathers are short changes.
Oh my, wait your turn. Your month is coming next month.
So I would just like to encourage everybody, please, 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 buy local, support your farmers. We are hurting, and we are hurting bad, 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 bad. We cannot continue farming if we're not getting our produce sold.
Okay.
Thank you, Troy.
Thank you so much for bringing those issues to light.
Okay, that's
have a good week.
Yeah, thank you.
That's this week's farm report, and it is 9:43. We're gonna continue our conversation. I think. Yes.
I know, right?
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Fruta, taste the real Fruta. Enjoy the real Fruta. Refreshing juice of every day. Whoa, Fruta. Drink the real Fruta. Your favorite real Fruta. The natural taste is Fruta. Fruta.
Your favorite fruit has got a new skin with real juice within. Drink the real Fruta. Enjoy the real joy.
Taste the real Fruta. Enjoy the real Fruta. Refreshing juice of every day is Fruta.
Fruta, juiced right.
Magnum new label charge up, and it means that the vibes move just like you.
I your name a call up, can't you see that the hot girl just passed you?
Selector just call up, can't you see that the new look just make news?
As I step forward, no, what you gonna do?
Magnum tonic wine, brand new look.
Damn good wine.
Must be 18 or older to drink. Drink responsibly. Magnum.
It's 9:45 and we are back.
Yeah.
We've had an interesting farm
We've
report.
had an interesting farm report. We've had an interesting discussion. And just before we went on to the farm report, we were talking about Mr. Astofan's commentary on the housing and everything. And it goes to the point of transparency. It goes to the point, again, I think, of accountability.
Dispersion of information.
Yeah.
Because look at all the questions we all have. I have questions, you have questions. Dwyer had a whole bunch of questions in his commentary. Persons calling in, Miss Henry. We all have questions. So it just highlights the fact that the information has not been dispersed properly, because why do we still have all of these questions? And they're general questions and fair questions.
They're fair questions, and especially when you look at the magnitude of the development, persons are going to have questions. When you have such a revolution in terms of housing, 2,400 houses to be constructed, persons involved, stakeholders, they're going to have questions. Persons who want houses are going to have questions. And especially coming off of an election just in 2022, much of the discussion was about transparency, accountability, good governance. Persons are still in that frame of mind, wanting to know what is going on, wanting things to be transparent, wanting to hold their government accountable. So you can't say no, asking questions is bad, or asking questions, you can't do that. When we had a whole election on transparency, asking questions, where we had a whole government fall apart, so to speak, or administration fall apart based on transparency and all of those things that are asking questions, So you can say it was objective then and not objective now.
True. The whole, to segue a little bit, the whole conversation about the market and getting to the market and all of that has been heating up the chat. One of the things
I like how your phrase is
I have to agree with a point that Culture made. Having the vendors on the street was an obstruction in terms of traffic, walking, but at the same time, they have to make a living. The problem is, like somebody rightly pointed out, our streets are narrow. And when you try to get to the public market, it's a hassle because there's no parking. For me, I gravitate towards the agro strip, but everybody's not going to be able to do that. Even in the market, the standing room is kind of, small. But we'll get back to. We lost the call?
We have a call. No, he's here.
Hello, good morning.
It's Mr. Morton, actually. Hey, Mr. Morton, go ahead.
I just want to lend my support to the whole idea of the state of agriculture.
Yes.
And one of the major problems we're facing is that the Ministry of Trade is not doing what it ought to do to protect the market. Because, for example, you look at one of the guys mentioned, Donald Trump, and he uses the very laws that we are abiding by to secure a certain percentage of the market for their people, which the laws allow. That I made mention to that when I was there. Someone from trade told me I was wrong. I said, you go and read the laws again, because it allows you to protect a certain section, a certain percentage of your market share. And we are not doing that. So it is a free-for-all. Any and everybody could come. Any and everybody could order. Any and everybody could sell. Where does the farmers fit in? The Ministry of Trade need to be supporting the Ministry of Agriculture in the marketing thrust in order to move agriculture. It makes no sense. We produce and we don't have a market. We produce in monkey and pig are taking it, and then when you finish, what you do get through, there is no market. So the farmer is always at the end of the stake, getting burned. And like I said before, that is why farmers are in poverty up until today. And until they do something about that, nothing is going to change. I'll continue to listen off here.
Wow. This continues to be an issue. And I'm trying to figure out, I think I'll go back to what I usually say. It's education is the way we look at agriculture.
Yeah.
One of the things the farmers said the very first day was that people don't see it as a business as you would see maybe a lawyer or a doctor or even somebody throwing up a business, like a commerce business. Maybe it's been ingrained in us that, you know, and I don't think we will understand it until we feel it. Because we all have to eat.
Yeah.
Food is important to all of us.
But clearly from what the callers have said, or what especially Mr. Morton has said, there is some connection that must be made between the Ministry of Trade, Agriculture, and the farmers. It must be an all-in-society approach, you know. Farmers can only do so much. And to keep their, based on what Troy was saying, to keep their produce at a cost that would still be affordable for locals.
Let's take another call. Call up. Go right ahead.
Yes, I was listening promptly. Yeah, I like the comment to Mr. Doyamek. You hear what you're saying? I know what happened from every government come down, that passing down. When the person is going to bring in a fridge and this and that, so they taking over. I see a supermarket, you know. That's what I'm selling grocery. And then I you see fridge in there, this in there, that in there, car oil in there, all kind of things. So what happens to the person? Other part are going to pay so much money, right, to pay the license. And these things, nobody looking into them. Yeah, with the market. I see the market in the right place. Go a market, there you go to walk down to the market. I watch it many times I hear watching the Caribbean country them. You see the market looks so nice and very laid out. It was the market put down my business in 1912 whenever the country I mean it's only open. And when thing is the people used to go every day. The market is the right place. I don't know if people want to be here, but also happen. People had started to do it, you know, with Mr. Simmons, and he tried to get them in quick. When you look the other government take up 95, 96, they let it come out, and that won't be, you know. And then when you look now, strangers and all come here spread off. I got one day I asked the lady, how much should I bag you? 90-something. I said, miss, you're paying 10? $1 for the person who in a store. That's supposed to be cheaper. So we need to put on our foot on the market and leave the market where it is the one thing. You come early, you go early, buy whatever, buy and go back home, that's all. But park your car somewhere else, take a Uber then, put your car around the memorial, they take a Uber if you know walk back. And think that's how people get working in other countries.
But I think you made an interesting point. The market has been there for
1912.
Well, I don't know if it's been there since 1912.
I don't know how long it's been, but it's
been there for a long time.
Maybe they need to do some work on the market.
Of course, our population has changed in terms of the growth, in terms of what we do now, in terms of the vehicular access that we have. So before it would have been easier because people used to walk more back then, and they had all of these vehicles to worry about parking, convenience and all of that. So perhaps what needs to be done.
Even walking towards the market is drama.
It's some sort of focus into, constructing a place or the marketplace in a way that's convenient to all.
Yeah, maybe. I know on Saturdays they block off traffic coming down from the Cenotaph.
It's funny.
You can't go down that way because it's market day. So you could come up, like let's say you would have bought from the market and you want to leave. You could drive up, but I don't think you can drive down. That's on Saturdays.
It's
but
such
during
a
the
pity.
week.
This is a problem, actually.
During the week, maybe let the side streets be.
But I think they had some plans.
Because somebody made a valid point on the chat saying that our streets are too narrow in St. Kitts. But you see, this market thing, it's been an issue in almost every Caribbean countries because people feel that if they come out of the market, they're more in your line of sight and you're more accessible. Yeah. And so then it causes traffic jam, clustering in the road. It's been an issue in almost every Caribbean country.
This is the problem with this problem. I mean, I'm ambivalent because on the one hand, I understand Troy's point about Princess Street, but at the same time, we have a market. So I feel like why aren't we using the market? And I understand the problems with the market in terms of parking and so on.
And I feel the same like you. I'm on both sides because I've suffered not being able to walk on the sidewalk because of vendors being there.
I mean, would it kill you to walk them?
But-
Let's
right,
be real.
but
Would
then
it kill
at
you
the
to walk
same
onto the
time-
market? But at the same time, you know.
You
I
see,
mean,
you
I
know what the
think-
problem is? People weren't using the market because the vendors were out there. So if you put all the vendors that people want in the market, then you have no choice but to go there. Let me tell you, when I need stuff, I drive to the agro strip, and I usually park on the opposite side of the road and cross.
But
and go
not
over.
everybody would have-
Everybody can't do that.
Yeah, everybody
But what
would
I'm
have
saying is that they're
transportation.
in that area. So if you want the stuff, you will go to get it. So it's either you park up somewhere and walk to the market, or you park up and walk to the agro strip, or you know, whichever one is closer to you, because now we have two options. Persons in the Bird Rock Frigate Bay area can access the agro strip. Persons in the Bastille area can access the market.
I don't know. Maybe we should consider more than one market.
And then Sandy Point, I know Sandy
A kind of
Point has like a little
decentralized
market
idea, you know?
area. I've passed a couple
Yeah.
times and seen like something built up at the side
But
of
you
the
see,
road.
all these markets, they're not attractive. I think what we need to do is to...
I like the one in the Molyneux area, the one that they built up there, like right by the roundabout. It's nicely painted. They have nice stalls. The stuff is usually laid out nicely. It's very attractive.
Well,
Have
I
you
wasn't.
seen
I
it?
wasn't thinking about that one.
Let's take a call.
I was thinking about when you said the Sandy Point one and the Bastille one. My mind went to those two to make it, more modern. I think if you
Maybe
make
we
it
could
more
go up.
modern, people would gravitate towards it. Go
Caller,
ahead.
go ahead.
Yes. The purpose of the market is to do what is being done in there. And people have to understand that. They must not look at one point because it is what you call an advantage to them. Look at all the points. Now, anybody want to eat, cook up back and they could pig mouth and salt. You think they're going to marry her? No, they're going to find the local person who do that. Wheresoever they are, they're going to find them. And then the walking is good when they don't eat, they burn up that calorie. Why they want everything under the chin? They will marry it, go look lobster, not back and neck. So don't let them come with that, but it's market far. The market ain't far. We only 68 square mile. In Bastille is only what? A mile in circumference. And walking is good. Every day you see people on the street walking, doing exercise, burning up this and burning up that. So what happened to people? Walk for what you want. You can't go on the cenotaph, go watch a football match. You got to walk, go to the park where the football match is being played. Anyway, thank you, gentlemen and lady.
Thank you. Thank you for calling in.
He has a point.
But that's what I literally just said.
Yeah. No.
Park up and walk and go to the market.
I never had a problem with walking.
And then the market got a facelift recently.
But I also understand Troy's point too,
No, you can see it from both sides. I don't think I would necessarily agree to the Princess Street allocation. I just feel the street is narrow. And if we have so many farmers, selling a variety of products, I feel like the street is just going to become congested again.
Like I said, maybe we should just have another smaller market somewhere.
But then
else.
don't all villages or villages have markets? There's there's the one I just described up when you're going towards Molyneux Phillips's that had a nice
Informal
it was
or
built
not, yeah.
recently. The market in Bastille got a facelift. Now we have the agro strip, so persons driving towards Frigate Bay and Bird Rock can access the agro strip.
What
Sandy Point has one.
Give me an example of a design here you would say is attractive. You were saying something was attractive. I was trying to think of.
He was saying it wasn't attractive.
But he was saying that they should be more attractive. But I was wondering if he had.
I was thinking. I think that there was plans, discussions. I'm sure there were talks about upgrading it down by in Bastille and adding a parking lot by
out in the sea.
Out in the sea. I think there was a discussion about that.
I'm glad you mentioned that. You know what I just remembered? We had a place called Amina Craft Market.
Mm-hmm.
And that just went into oblivion.
Mm-hmm.
Persons didn't want to go in there. Finally, you got them in there. There was complaints about paying this, paying that. But that would have been the ideal place for persons who wanted to sell like bags, like the caller described earlier, and shoes and whatever, because you wouldn't necessarily put those in the market where there's fish and vegetables. So why can't we? What happened to that? It's insane to me.
I floated this idea before. I personally, if I was the government, that building that they own, that where Bayambi used to be, I would take that building out.
A nice building.
I would take that building out and make a small little square in there that people can use.
Remember, I said Bank Street, and that building has been shut up for quite some time.
The thing about it,
right?
or the problem is that Bastia is a very old town, and we are now in a very modern day.
Because the streets are narrow. Have you tried driving up Neverson Street?
Yeah.
One car at a time.
Yeah. So it's a really, we have to now think about urban planning, think about how we could renovate Bastia, think about how we could create a space, because we are functioning in a town that has been
make
there
the best
for
use
years.
of the space that we have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even the square, I see that they do stuff. Is it on every Friday? Vendors go on grassy patches in the square
And also,
and put up tents.
I don't understand
there.
this idea that we can't do that. I don't see why we can't do that regularly in the square.
In the
honestly.
square, yeah.
They allow
the square might be convenient.
They allow the
Central.
I don't know who built that little. There's a little concrete platform across from where the Russians bought. The where the Cameron Gallery was.
Oh.
Yeah.
You mean up there?
On North
You mean where
Square
they have
Street.
like the food trucks?
You mean where they have the seats?
Yeah, and they have a little concrete area. So
Oh,
if
really?
they
I
can do
didn't
that
even
for
notice
those,
that.
if they can do that for that, why can't we have a designated area
gonna
in there?
drive there
But this
after this.
seating
There's
for
a
everybody?
concrete
Yeah, they're for everybody, I think. But I just find it
strange that they have it up
they have
there.
to have it up there. But then I guess they have plausible denial.
think
They say,
I don't think
oh,
I've
it's for the
seen
food
it.
trucks. you
Yeah,
know?
the food trucks are close up there.
Yeah. So
There's a spot between the gallery and the food trucks where there's a concrete.
it's basically
thing?
in front of the
Oh,
gallery
in God's name, did I
area.
miss
Yeah.
that?
You mean some seating areas?
A seating area for dining and so on. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to drive here after.
It looks like it's
I
about
don't
10
think
by
I've seen
10 or
that.
something like that.
Yeah,
10,
it's a
maybe
small
12 by
area.
12, something like that.
Ah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's it's 2 minutes after 10 o'clock. So another feisty show.
Yes. Island tea.
It's good,
Island tea.
right?
Yeah.
Piping hot island tea.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you for
And-
joining us today, everyone.
Yes, later, guys.
See you guys
great.
tomorrow.
And tomorrow, Thursday, from
Caribbean link
10
up?
o'clock. No, I was
Oh.
saying, Sunday is Mother's Day, so I'm gonna do my.
All right.
I'm probably gonna dedicate Spin Cycle's Power Hour
You know,
tomorrow
Softer
to
side?
Father's Day. Well, at least some of it. Some of it. I might even do a little thing today. Just 2 tracks or so. I don't know.
Well, who knew?
Oh, come on, you guys act like I'm made of iron or something. I'm not. I'm really not.
Have a good day today,
You
everyone.
guys too.
All the best, guys.
We're different.